are back. It is the kids on the escalator. Chris Machete. Hey, we finally named it. We named it.
Kids on the escalator. For
those in the know, the kids in the escalator. The first one to comment on this when we post this is going to win something. We're going to give them some shit. We're going to give them some shit. We don't know what that is, but the first person, like literally, we're going to post this thing and then we're going to keep an eye out there of where it is. And the first person that makes a video comment of what we're referring to.
Where did we get the reference from?
We get the reference. The Kids on the Escalator podcast is now here.
I'm going to give one hint. It's
no.
Not even one hint.
Not even a hint.
It's pretty deep. Yeah, okay.
It's a deep one. It's a deep reference. We've got to do this the right way. If you know what we're talking about, the Kids on the Escalator podcast is now here.
Yay!
That's right. Welcome.
And we're gonna have prizes galore because I've got some wicked artwork I can send to people. We've got Super Zuka that's jumped on board. That's going to give us apparently all kinds of cool shit. So that's going to be awesome. And then Nexus Comics is also going to donate some stuff in Kingston. Yes, here in Kingston, Ontario, which is a beautiful day. Excuse me. That's why I got my light clothing on. So Nexus Comic Books, downtown Kingston, Ontario, is also donating a bunch of stuff for our giveaways. So man, it's wicked. Like you get free stuff for watching our show. But I want to specify one thing. Unless you're covering the shipping on this, they should be from Canada because, man, I'm sorry, you American friends, but shipping stuff to you guys is ridiculous.
Isn't that crazy?
It's nuts. So I don't know. Should we?
We'll send a vaccine with it when we send it down.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
anyways,
seriously.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. American, Canadian, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We want you listening to this thing and we want you sending it around and doing the whole thing. It is Brenton from the Brenton On Tour Podcast. That is Chris Machete. Old friends we are, old bandmates we are, old battle warriors we are. And we have put our heads together to come up with something that is entertaining to us. So we're hoping it will be entertaining to you. Last episode, our first one, we covered off our review of the end of season 2 of The Boys. Since we've spoken about that, a shit ton of stuff has come out about where it might be going in episode at season 3. So can't wait to dive into that. But today, as we get going here, we are coming up on the release of the second season of The Mandalorian, which drops October 30th on Disney. So go get your subscriptions all tidied up there.
Yeah, make sure you're still subscribed to Disney. I know a lot of people cancel it after The Mandalorian. I still watch it all the time, but I sit here and do work while I watch TV.
I know, and it's it looks like it's going in a great direction, and I can't wait to kind of get into that. Today we are going to touch a base on a article that just came out from a great site called the Nerdist, where they wanted to talk about the absolute scariest horror movie of all time. And we are coming up on Halloween, which is just around the corner. So it is the perfect time to get into that. We all have our thoughts. We are horror movie fans. Chris draws horror like crazy. Oh, yeah. So it's great.
And I've been watching a ton of it too. As I draw, I have my TV in front of me. I put movies on and stuff. And man, I've watched so many horror movies lately. It's been great. Just Netflix ones, classic ones, new ones, suggested ones by friends and fans. I love horror movies, but especially around Halloween, you just get that vibe going, right? And in Kingston, Ontario here, we have the green light to celebrate Halloween. So we're all good here. I see a lot of people are complaining that we can't have Halloween. Well, we can, which is probably because we're being safe with everything else that we do in life.
Sure.
But I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. All I know is we're celebrating Halloween, and I like that. I'm going to crack the garage door open, dress up like Darth Vader. I got the replica lightsaber, and going to scare the shit out of some kids. No, just kidding. I'm just going to give them some cool candy.
We're going to do reverse Halloween. I'm going to send the kids out with candy to throw at the houses.
Wow.
We're going to go with that way.
Twist.
Yeah, so they're going to send somebody up to knock on the door. When they open the door, we're going to throw it at them.
Wow.
That's some fun. We're going to fuck it up.
Right?
We're going to have some fun with it. And then our third topic today, Chris has got some thoughts on AEW and the current state of wrestling. What's going on
wrestling,
over there.
Man.
That's right. We're going to get into a little bit of that. So lots to cover today, but definitely thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the podcast and supporting the cause as we get rolling on this thing.
It's only going to get bigger and better.
Bigger, better, lots of guests, lots of gifts, lots of cool shit on the way. Here we go. Let's dive into The Mandalorian. My friend, what do you think we're expecting here with The Mandalorian? I love the preview.
Well, from what I've heard, you hear Boba Fett's going to make an appearance. I've heard that Obi-Wan donned his old Ian McGregor donned his old outfit for part of the Mandalorian. Wow. Right
they
there.
Are making they are making a standalone Obi-Wan movie.
Oh, and that is so good. He is my favorite Jedi. In my opinion, he's
written the best.
Oh, yeah, and he was played well. But if you look at all the people, I guess, yeah, in the main movies, there's so much other canon that people don't know about. So it's hard whether I should dive into like Jedi kills, because in the movies, Obi-Wan, man, if you take down, he took down Anakin, he took down Grievous, he took down, who else did he take down? There's Darth Maul. Like, you know what I mean? Like Obi-Wan, in my opinion, Obi-Wan is the ultimate Jedi. I know a lot of people love Yoda, but Obi-Wan, in my opinion. So if I saw him in The Mandalorian now, I'd be really stoked on that. I also hear Cara Dune is coming back, which is amazing. I can't remember the actress that plays Cara Dune, but she also played a character in Deadpool 1, which is amazing. But I thought Cara Dune was an awesome character. What did you think of her?
I loved it. And I think she was super, it almost touches on what we talked about last week with this amazing female, just fucking kicking ass.
Doing it right.
Doing it right.
Females right.
Doing it right. But you've heard people forever talk about how women aren't written well or properly in movies or in comics or anything. You're a big proponent of this. You're like, this is why you said that. I remember a quote you told me one time when we were watching Kevin Smith movies, which is like, he just writes women the best.
He does. And who doesn't?
Writes women the best.
Who did we decide cannot write for dialogue for a woman?
George Lucas.
George. You poor son of a bitch.
That's right.
Don't even attempt it, George.
That's crazy. I love that it's still Baby Yoda. I love that they haven't made him a teenager yet. So that would be too much of a jump. That would be too much of a jump. And keep in mind, friends, that we are doing this from watching the trailer, but we're not diving in Chris will dive in, but we're not going to get all crazy on like whether they're holding the right lightsaber in this scene in the preview, like some people go.
The dark saber is going to be coming in there, right?
Which I can't wait to see. But we're talking about the little things to get excited about. It looks like these new planets they're going to. What else are you seeing in there?
Well, I'm curious if have you heard anything about Darth Maul being in this? Because
I heard rumblings that they were going to try to work him into this series, but I don't know if it's going to happen in season 2.
Because the Darksabers, the funny thing is the Darksaber was a huge part of the ending of season 1, right?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing too much about that or hearing too much about the Darksaber, which that was all the talk about. I actually did a chat thing about it on the Blundell show there about the Darksaber and how important it was going to be. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Maybe they're not showing that because it's going to be so impressive.
Yeah.
Once it does come out, but Darth Maul had it before, right? The last person that we saw with the Darksaber was Darth Maul. Now we don't know how this new. I'm blanking on the new guy's name. I've seen him in so many movies lately; it's ridiculous. But he's also wearing like the Darth Vader thing at the end there when he comes out with his saber. There's so much little information with this gentleman and his saber. But I would love to see how he got it from Darth Maul.
It looks like obviously reuniting the baby with Jedi, and that's a whole thing, which I'm hoping that they're going to touch on a lot of Jedi origin story here. Mm-hmm. And I think, Favreau's the guy to do it.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Really and touching on like the Jedi, origin story. There's so many different origin stories, and you think about where they could go with this. They could take the Mandalorian as far as they want, and then it leads up to like a backstory of Luke, and then a backstory into like that they touched on in the books with like him getting married. Oh my God, there's so many places they can go with this series, right?
And they have the right people behind the helm of it too, which is exciting, right? I remember there's been times where you hear somebody's going to do a movie or a show about something you really enjoy, and then you see who's directing it or writing it, and you're like, oh wow, okay, this is going to suck. But this is brilliant. Everything that's come out from I can't think of anything that Favreau's done that's been really bad. He's really on top of his pop culture with Marvel and Star Wars, man. I'm really stoked. Yeah,
very excited to see where it's going. A little wrestling tie-in. Sasha Banks is in there. I saw her dressed up. I wonder if she's like a mystery Jedi in there. I'm so glad that they didn't end up killing off Carl Weathers, because you got to have Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed's got to be there. And let me tell you something. Is Apollo Creed, did he get the short end here of life? Because he was on his way to become a massive star.
Right.
And then he just kind of vanished. How do you go from Rocky to Action Jackson to Predator?
Predator, right.
And then he was in Happy Gilmore.
He was. And
great. Then that was kind of it. And I'm like, is there anybody that got, that had a more of an upswing than Carl Weathers?
Maybe pissed somebody off. Huh?
Oh my God.
Was he in those? Those movies that like Stallone's in and everybody's in?
I'm sure. Yeah, I think he was The Expendables.
Oh, The Expendables. Was he in that?
I'm sure he was.
Okay. See,
I'm sure he was. Those movies, you know what I mean? That's I never really saw them either. The premise of getting all those action stars together was awesome. But I'm guessing that like the implementation, they made a whole shit ton of money. But let me bring it up here. And see what the cast was. I'm sure he was, because you just can't. I mean, he had Ivan Drago in there, so
it was like everybody was in there, right? It was almost too many stars for me to watch. I couldn't fit.
It's almost like Terry Crews replaced Carl Weathers.
Oh yeah,
and I don't, and he's doing everything, and I don't know if I agree with that. I think Carl Weathers I like him better. So far, I'm looking at the cast. I don't see him in anything. I'm sure he was in there, but I haven't seen him in maybe he was in one of the other ones. But regardless,
off, or he had some health issues, maybe, huh?
Yeah. Anyways, we'll get off Carl Weathers here. And Carl was our fallen brother Zig was a huge Carl Weathers fan. You know what I mean? Right. So he was always talking Carl Weathers and the Predator stuff. So anyways, looking forward to this October 30th for The Mandalorian. More to come on that. Can't wait to dive into.
That's Friday? Is that like
30th?
Not this? That's a week from today?
I think it's a Sunday.
Oh, it's a Sunday. Okay.
Yeah. It must be a Friday, because I think Halloween's on a Saturday this year. So there you go.
Okay, today's the 23rd. You lose track of the days.
You know what? Now? You really do. You just do, especially when the world that we're in right now, and none of us really have a schedule to keep. So
that's what I'm saying. Like I was talking to my neighbor there, and we've been trying. I haven't been able to jam with any bands or anything, right? And my neighbor there plays drums and has a studio going on, and we keep saying, "Yeah, let's just jam this weekend." And then the weekend's by, and it's like, "Holy, I was supposed to do something." Oh yeah. So I'm talking to him today. He's like, "Okay, Sunday, 2:00. Or like Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. So now, but I have such a hard time planning stuff right now. I forget about it. I start working on something for the first time ever, dude. And oh man, you know how long I've been teaching? Like a decade. I blanked on a student. I've never honestly, you can ask my wife. I've never blanked on a student, and I just blanked.
They showed up, and you're like,
showed up with the mask on and everything. First lesson, I was teaching piano, and I was like, and I had a neck injury this week, and I couldn't even really move it. The house was not set up to do a lesson. Let's just say that as well. It's relaxing. So yeah, but I've never. That's how loose things are. I find right now.
Well, I guess you got to get organized, because it's.
I'm fine with it. No,
we're too far. We're into this. This is the dream. My wife, this is your dream. This like March, like from March now, like not seeing anyone, staying in and just chilling. This is the dream. So for us, like for me, I kind of like to be busy and go. I was happy with taking the 4 months, but I'm ready to dive in. So it's kind of like, let's add more podcasts and the rest of it. Hence what we're doing here.
We should mention there is like, I have so many musician friends that I feel so bad for. I look at their Instagram posts, and they're posting all the shows. And these are not just like little shows at the bar down the road. These are like, big festival shows that these guys, some friends of ours, are doing. And I feel bad for them, because you get going like, this is great. I'm getting so much art done and selling commissions and doing podcasts and videos. And then your buddies, you see him going, man, this sucks. I have no work, like I'm a touring writing musician and I got nothing. And you feel bad for them. I guess the worst was that the guy from Bare Naked Ladies there, right? Who I can't stand. Not Stephen Page, who I think is amazing. The other guy with the egghead there. What's that guy's name, dude? Ed Roberts. Ed Roberts or something?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy had, I'm just loving being at home, and this is great to me. And other musicians are going like, dude, Give us
it's a tough, money. I've been interviewing some musicians on the Brenton On Tour podcast, and I've got one today actually. This will come out by then, but I just did an interview with Biff Naked, and it's sort of diving into what that looks like for a musician to just at her level, especially. So it's a tough one, and it's not going to get fixed anytime soon. Thankfully in Canada, for anyone listening, resource wise, there's a great fund called the Unison Benevolent Fund. They actually helped me out.
They helped my daughter out too. Yeah,
they're really, really great. I actually, so I've turned that into Indie Week. You and I used to play Canadian Music Week and all these kind of things.
We used to look forward to that every year.
Right.
We played with some great bands, man.
So there was a guy, there's a guy named Daryl Hers who I've had just on a podcast as well. And I'm trying not to promote, I'm just trying to talk about the scenario, but he's created Indie Week, and it's not Canadian Music Week. It's its own thing when they've taken it completely online. So he's trying to keep people working. He's trying to keep his staff working. He's trying to keep the whole thing going. So it took some of that Unison money and then bought 5 passes for the festival. So we're going to give those away, and just trying to keep our people working and trying to keep our people going. Yeah. But it's going to be a long grind. And that's why it comes back to, remember, certain managers used to tell me, hey, you wear too many hats and you're not wearing one. Well, now that theory is out the ass because I need to pull in every single resource of everything I've ever learned from every single person, including yourself, agents, managers, musicians, all my friends, everyone that's helped me along the way. I have to pull that into what I'm doing in order to survive. So your music, we all have a lot of the same musician friends. So stick with it, my friends, and we'll get through this thing. But in the meantime, wrestling.
I guess that was our music conversation. Is power to all our friends out there who are in the music industry. Stick with it. If you heard that link that Brent mentioned, check that out. My daughter was working with Brent.
Absolutely.
Industry. She had to come home because there's nothing going on. Luckily, she got hired by a cannabis shop right up the road, and I'm getting tons of free benefits from that. But she just went to one last music thing is that she went to Hamilton. We're in Kingston. She jumped in her car, went to Toronto, picked up a bunch of friends, then went to Hamilton and checked out a drive-in show. Yeah. Silverstein or another band. But that's and I was like, wow, you really want to drive? She said, I got to support the music scene. So kudos for that kind of thing. What I mean?
And I feel so bad for her and good for her. I mean, she came out to Vancouver. For everyone listening, Chris's daughter came out to Vancouver where I live to give it a go. Like I tour with bands on the side, or tour with bands full time around the world, running concerts on the side. Anyways, now it's on the side. But and she wanted to get into it, and she's always wanted to get into it. And it was really great. And she's made such a rise through the ranks, and was just about to break.
Almost there, right?
She worked Glastonbury last year. She was
going to tour she was going to work all of England this summer that just passed.
Yeah. So, same thing we say to her, just hang tight and stick it out. And
it's like nobody's taking your job right now, my music friends. I know nothing's going on, but nobody's taking your job right now. It's going to come around again. It's going to come around again. Stay strong, my friends.
AEW. You wanted to talk wrestling. I'm not going to talk
wrestling.
We're not going to do WWE right now because there's not much to talk about over there.
One thing I want to mention, I briefly saw that somebody has COVID from there, and there's a big deal about it, and somebody's going to...
I don't know if it's a wrestler. I think it's a worker in the Amway Center in Orlando. Okay. Now, I actually just spoke to a really good friend of mine today in Florida, and they're fully open. He just told me that because the WWE just got approved, Florida.
Yeah.
Open it up to put they're allowing the football team to do a full stadium this weekend.
Wow.
They could do 70,000. It's probably going to be 30. So
Florida scares the
shit. It's just crazy. And they've opened it right up, and he's like, we're fully open. We're rocking. So, hey, whatever. Right.
So everybody's getting sick.
Whatever. Just, wow. I'm like, just whatever. Just let it be what it's going to be. Fuck it. Yeah. So but there's somebody. AEW. So anyways, that WWE.
That is good information on that. I was curious about the COVID thing and the WWE.
Yeah, it was from what I'm seeing, it was a case maybe in the Amway Center. which I've been to, which is a cool little place.
And of course, I'm not a fan of Vince McMahon, right? I have a problem with really, really rich people that abuse their power. I don't know, call me crazy, but he bothers me. So I watch AEW. I am a religious AEW watcher. Wow. So the thing that I noticed about AEW is you get the dark episodes that are it's all free, right? It was on TSN here. It isn't anymore. They had to repackage their deal or something.
I know. I don't get it anymore in Vancouver.
Oh, well, it's on the internet. You can get it on YouTube on Tuesday.
Sure. I just don't get it. Yeah.
The thing is that it's like remember our Saturday morning WWF shows where it was like, Hulk Hogan versus, Frank Dillinger. And he just, boom, that was
jobbers,
it. The jobbers, yeah. So you got to get them in there, but those matches aren't that great. So then you have the following night, Wednesday night, where it was on TV, and those matches are wow, man. There was so they're having this tournament to see who can fight for the championship, right? And Kenny Omega, if you didn't know, is in AEW, and he's one of my favorite wrestlers, and he's got a new intro. He's got he's the sweeper, right? He's got two girls in bikinis that come out and introduce him, and he just comes out. He's angry, finishes his match, boom, and his old tag team partner, Hangman Page. They broke up their tag team. I don't know if anybody witnessed that, but it was a very miserable breakup. So it's heading towards those two fighting. They're gonna win the tournament. You can see it happening. They're gonna win the tournament, and they're gonna fight each other, and the winner will go for the championship. Which is a great way to do it, and the way it's building up is really cool. I miss that kind of thing. The thing
I always think though about that kind of scenario though, where it is building towards perfect. It tells me that it's not going to be perfect.
Well, these are some really good wrestlers, and not
what I'm saying is that the way the writing is going to go, I feel like it's too easy to tell that story. So right. I think it's going to be the build up, and then Hangman's going to cost Omega the belt, or vice versa.
Well, you mean the spot?
There's just that spot. It's just a better story for me.
We'll see what they do though, right? Because the big thing that I like about AEW is that it's kind of like Image Comics, where the wrestlers are kind of in control a little more of what they're doing. Same with Image Comics, they're in control of their titles of what they're doing there. If you watch my last video, you'll see that. So it'd be cool. This is a great test, though, to see what they're going to come up with. Because a great thing is, as you mentioned, is you can see it coming. And in the past, you kind of know what's going to happen, but is it? Because I'll tell you, man, Jericho did a segment there, and Amazing. I did not see that coming.
Amazing.
It was so good. The steak, and then they get it. It's like totally uncooked. Man.
So anyone, Jericho and MJF did a great bit where they were, where MJF's they're dueling each other. Well, I'm going to order a steak. I want it well done. Well, I want it rare, and I want it, and it just keeps going down. You know what I was actually expecting? I was actually expecting the waiter to bring out 2 cows.
Oh, that would have been funny.
It'd just be like whatever. But then they turn it into a dance number and everything. And if you've read any of Jericho's books, his mission is just to completely reinvent himself all the time and to stay fresh. And I don't think anyone's ever done it better. There's not one person that's ever done it better. The only person that I could see that I can compare it to, and I mean this like from back and forth, was the Macho Man, from the standpoint of like, no matter what he did, you were into, whether he was a heel or he was a face, he did it the best. And he would be good guy, then bad guy, then good guy, and
he made it work. Yeah.
And he made it work. And I'm not comparing Jericho and Macho Man from the standpoint of style or wrestling. What I'm saying, right? but just the way the reinvention, because not a lot of guys can reinvent themselves, and the Macho King, and then he goes to so there was some cool stuff there. And Jericho to me has just consistently rewrote his character and himself, and it's amazing to watch.
Well, like you were saying about seeing things coming, I did not see that dance number coming at the end.
No,
and I usually don't like. I loved it, man. I thought it was so fun, and that's what wrestling should be.
They're lip syncing.
Oh my god!
But that's the thing about AEW, Chris, is that Tony is like such a smart dude.
And Schiavone?
No, Tony Khan, the owner.
Oh, Tony Khan, right? Sorry, yes.
And Schiavone too, but Tony Khan, the owner, is such a smart dude that he's not making it the anti-WWE, but he's trying to take all of those things that he loved about the WWE or at least that's the product that I see. All the things that I loved about the WWE that maybe they've gotten away from because it's just turned into such a thing that you can tell these stories over here now that you couldn't tell over there. And they're bringing guys like Arn Anderson in and all these guys that,
Tully Blanchard,
Snake, and it's really frustrating because I think that when you think of the guys that are still locked up in WWE, that would be great assets down there from a writing standpoint and things like that. It would be amazing. So I will keep tuning in as best as I can.
Well, another thing about Jericho that I see, I one of my most despised wrestlers ever is Shawn Michaels. I can't stand his face. And now that he's like this religious guy, I hate him even more. The last, dude, prayer is the last result of a scoundrel, my friend. Lisa Simpsons 19 whatever. Prayer is the last resort of a scoundrel. That is my humble opinion on that, and I can't stand him. Chris Jericho is putting over wrestlers. He put Orange Cassidy over, man. The wrestler that everybody deemed as the fake guy, puts his hands in his pockets, he doesn't do much. Man, Jericho saw something in him and he put him over, and he did an amazing job at that. He's not like, I'm Chris Jericho, I can't lose. Like you can't do that to me. You can't put me in this position. No, man, Jericho's for the team. And that is really cool. And I think it shows with everybody in the whole federation, the wrestling federation. Yeah. John Moxley, what a champion. He gets in there. And, he's a little bit of a low talking mumbler guy. It's really funny to hear. Who did I think it might have been Jericho. I think it was Jericho that did an impression of John Moxley. And it was just awesome. It was
the thing is, it's like, I almost look at it as like, hey, Tony's offering an opportunity for these guys to come in, and Jericho and KOTE and all these people were part of it. And it's almost like, all right, it's not the second chance league, but it's like, we're going to do it right here. And we're going to do it at least the best. And they haven't been perfect, but there's been some moments that have been like, but they are doing what they can to offer this. And they're the true second in wrestling. For a long time it was WWE and WCW, and then Impact tried and TNA, but this is, to me, the first time it really feels like full competition for WWE. Yeah. And I think everyone is on board with the plan and the agenda. Definitely. And you're going to see that in the results. And so it's exciting and it's great for the business. And I think anybody on either side would agree that it's exactly the same. And to the Michaels thing, well, he's doing a good job then. Because I understand your point, but if you also read Jericho's book about his time with Michaels, that was the best. Jericho's like, that's the best thing I've ever done was my program with Michaels when he accidentally hit his wife in the face, and the two of them never got along very well. Okay. But Michaels saw like where it was going, and Jericho, and they carved out to what a lot of people are calling the greatest run of and Chris has had many of those. He did that. He did the thing with Punk, with the making Punk an alcoholic. He did the thing with Kevin Owens, and now he's over here. It's just so it's very exciting to watch. And there's other guys that are doing that. I can't wait till it gets back to the where it was. I can't wait to see where Edge is going to go with this thing. I can't wait to get him.
What is so you Edge? You're friends with Edge. What is he doing now?
Well, he's recovering. He came back. He had that injury. He had the injury, and he's recovering. Right. And I have no idea what's happening with him on that regard, because I don't actually talk wrestling with him. But and whatever. But I want to keep the two of them separate, and I'm just excited to see where he's. I'm just curious
if you had an inside scoop on where he was.
No,
going.
I wish I could break something on here, but if I broke something on here, if I broke something on here, I'm sure he'd break something on me.
Well, he can't find me. I'm just going to join AEW. That's what I heard.
But I'm not. He's a WWE guy for sure. But I can't wait to see him get in there with Rollins and get in there with some of these guys that would. I mean, almost every single person on the roster, I would love to see him get on there with. So, anyways, check out AEW and check out WWE, and we'll get back to that next week. And
first check out AEW though, and then
of course. We'll check them all out.
I always check out WWF from back in the 80s, and I have a great time.
There's some great stuff there.
The Tuesday night ones.
What's your okay? And I asked this question on a podcast last week to a certain guest who is married to a certain wrestler about her favorite like her match of all time that she could watch on a island. And if she was on an island and stuck on the island, what would your match? And I don't know if I've asked you that before, but what is your favorite match of all time that, like, without a doubt, I could put it on every single time?
That's a great question. Wow, I might have to sit here for a couple seconds. That is such a great question, because there was a lot of ECW matches, man. That there was some ECW, and they went on for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It would probably be an ECW match, but I would have to go back and look.
Yeah.
Of course, the Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat matches.
Well, that's and I want to say that too as the default. So I'm trying to find something else, because that's a given. But I think what we're all in love with as wrestling fans was that time. Because there was two times to me, like obviously the era that was like, you know, the Attitude Era and all that stuff. There's the bit of that people are digging into. Obviously the rise of Steve Austin and The Rock and that whole thing, like WrestleMania 17, table ladders and chairs. I mean, WrestleMania 18 in Toronto. There was not really a better time, because you had this sort of like WCW, WWE battle. It was crazy. And there were so many matches. So for me, that discovery through that time of being a kid and coming through that time, I think Ricky Steamboat for sure in that. But I also love the Jake and Macho stuff when he bit him with a snake.
Oh yeah. And you hear about the stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's like, crazy.
You're not going to bite me with that, are you? He was all pissed off. No, it's just going to be like this. So I guess Jake slapped the snake around a little bit before he bit him on stage.
Yeah, but Macho made him bite it. Macho made Jake take a bite before.
Yes. Here's what it's like. It's just like this, man. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Oh yeah.
It was amazing. So, I mean, it's tough, but I would love to watch sequence. I would love to watch the buildup. I could watch the buildup of those forever.
Yeah.
The buildup of those. But I think for me, and this is going to be really out there,
cool,
but I really got to think for me that I think the match that I could watch forever and ever is Randy Savage against Ted DiBiase at WrestleMania 4.
Ooh, wow. When watch that one.
That's when the belt changed hands from the Hogan era. That's when Hogan lost in the preliminaries, and everyone was like, well, who the fuck's going to be champion now? Hogan's been champion for 10 years. So that was like Macho coming in, and DiBiase was so amazing. And it was like, that was just the culmination. And to me, I could watch that because the fans were like, this is our new guy.
Yeah.
And that rarely happens, man. That rarely happens when you get championship changes all the time, but you never get that moment of this is the new guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you could tell the moment, right? It's like, well, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's like, no, this is it. This is the guy.
Amazing. I could watch that, I think, forever.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the old wrestling. It's fun just to listen to it while I'm working here too, put it under the interviews and stuff. I also like the old AWA wrestling, the WWF one, the way back there. Like I just love the old wrestling, man. It's like, I don't watch, to be honest with you, I don't watch WWE at all anymore, but I play the video game. But I make my own, they got all the wrestlers in there. They own everything. But yeah, AEW, I am religious watching. And their women's champion, Shakita, is just fantastic. She is amazing. On the other side of things, Cody's wife, Brandy, man, you really are very attractive woman. You're very great on your show where you have drinks, but man, you got to work on your wrestling, dude. I'm sorry. And she's like one of the premier girls in there because she's Cody Rhodes' wife, right?
I know, but you gotta bring it. Everyone's got to bring it, and you got to be the best. So
one last thing. So she fought this girl, Kylie something. It was a jobber. And I'm watching this match, right? And it's on YouTube. And I type in, wow, Kylie's a better wrestler than Brandy is. Oh, did everybody ever jump in on that one? Yeah, Brandy sucks. Brandy's this, Brandy's that. It's like, oh, and I felt bad because I don't like spreading negativity. I'm a very pro positive guy. So I almost went back and deleted it, but some of the comments were really funny and they were right. So sorry, Brandy, you got some work to do.
Horror movies. We're moving on. We're going to touch on this article. We've got a couple minutes left here, and then we'll let our listeners run to the hills and can watch some of these. I'm going to read off a list that the Nerdist just put out of the top, what they consider the scariest horror movies of all time. And they did this by connecting a heart meter to people and watching their heart rates go up and up. And I'm amazed at this list. And as I go through, I want you to do see it, saw it, want to see it, didn't see it, whatever.
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't seen a lot of them, and I know I'm the wrong guy to host this because no one in my house watches horror movies. So for me, I have to watch them on my own somewhere in there, and it's just there's so many other things going on. So
I've watched actually my most is 4 in one day.
So I think the last thing I saw was obviously the remake of it, and there's some stuff to get to. So here we go. This is from the Nerdist, great article by them. This, according to them, the scientifically most scary movies in the world. Ready? Number one goes to. Sorry, I'm an idiot.
Sinister?
I had a thing here, and my phone is frozen. Oh my god.
Oh, no.
I think it's Sinister. I sent it to you.
It was Sinister.
So this is like production 101 here, friends. But it's
okay. So it was Sinister, and that one has Ethan Hawke in it, I believe, right?
That's right. It was Sinister. Yeah. So that looked. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have seen it.
And
I liked it. I wouldn't have put it number one, but I did like it. I got to watch it again. I'm kind of like, I'm just bringing it up. So I have it here on mine. Yeah, number one was. Sinister. Number 2. Insidious. Do you have it up now?
I do.
Oh, okay, good. I didn't think you had it there. Yeah.
Insidious. Yeah. Did you like?
Insidious. Yeah. But you know what?
I'll go through. You just go see. You say see it, saw it, or see it, want to see it, didn't see it, and then we'll go back through it.
Sinister, saw it, got to rewatch it. I've seen so many horror movies, and I feel bad because that's like number 1.
Sure. Insidious.
But it didn't. But back to Sinister, it didn't strike me as like the scariest movie. Like, I'll tell you, when you bring it up, I'll mention ones that were like, whoa, Sinister was okay. Like I don't get that, but I noticed a lot of people underneath were commenting that, well, you can't judge a movie on people's like heart rates and stuff. It's like, well, what? Okay, why not? I don't know. It's like a lie detector test.
To me, that's that's where your most like where your fear is, or where your thing is. So where you're kind of like, the jump scare and all that stuff that you build up to or whatever. So I think to me, there's the bad. I'm a fan of the way it's been shot. So we'll see about that. The Conjuring. That's a
great movie. You got to see that. Conjuring. All the Conjurings are really, really good, but the first one's great. Yeah.
Hereditary.
Oh, okay. No, that should have been number 1. In my opinion, excuse me. Hereditary, for you horror fans, I'm sure you've already seen it, but watch it again. Holy crap. That movie really scared me. Like, really scared me.
What's the premise of it?
Oh man, it's kind of like a cult. And it just takes over people, and they have objects that will affect other people. I don't really want to tell too much about it, because I find with horror movies, if I'm looking for a good horror movie, I'll go online and I'll hear whether it's good and why it's good. But as far as the plot and stuff, I really personally like to stay away from that, because then you're anticipating it. Then you're getting a preconceived notion. And for horror movies and suspense movies, for me, it's all about what's around the corner. Could you imagine watching The Shining and knowing, well, maybe you did, knowing that when Danny turns the corner, those 2 little girls are going to be there?
No, you don't want that.
This is what I'm saying. So I'm not going to go into detail about the movies, but I'm going to tell you whether I saw it, whether I liked it, and why I liked it.
Then it goes Paranormal Activity.
Oh man. So number 1, I found and I know it's the intro to it. Number 1, I was like, what is the hype on these paranormal movies? And then I watched number 2 just lately, while I was working, and man, I didn't get any work done. Then I watched number 3, and then I think we have as far as number 4 available to me. I don't know if they make more than that, but Paranormal 1, I didn't find it scary. Nope. 2 and 3, holy crap. 4, wow. Yes.
They went to It Follows, The Conjuring 2, The Babadook, The Descent, and The Visit. That's your top 10.
Babadook, I started watching and stopped. That one, I believe, is in another language. And so I'm drawing. So I can't look at the subtitles when it was on, right? So that was a little tough for me.
I'm amazed at some of the ones, like the top 25 is pretty, just writing about The Ring, Quiet Place, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 28 Days Later, The Exorcist, Hush, It, Scream, The Grudge, The Witch, The Blair Witch, Alien, and The Thing. That number 10 down to 25 is everything we grew up on.
Yeah, well, the Blair Witch, the original Blair Witch was another. We saw it
were
together,
there. We all went and saw it together.
I just double checking, right? Because I drink a lot. But wow, that movie, dude! was so great. I remember my daughter hearing rumors about, I got to watch it, Dad. I got to watch it. And I was like, okay, when you can't watch it, grab my arm and just say, we're done. So we got to the part where the little hands were tapping on the tent. I can't handle it. I got to turn it off. She was little at this time, right? No, I'm sorry, Taylor, but she was really little bit. I think that is definitely in my top 5 or 10 horror movies for sure.
And I think what I think what did it for that, because if you really watch back on it, it's the hype leading into it, because it really takes a long time for something to get going on that movie. And I'm not discounting that. I'm just talking about the hype leading into that. And it's like the scariest movie you've ever seen in your life, right? And you're like, okay, shit, this is gonna be fucking crazy.
Yeah. And
then you go in and it just takes so long for that build up. I think that was the build. Like they built that tension where you're just like, when's it gonna happen? It's like the end of The Sopranos. It's like there's only 3 minutes. There's only 3 minutes left, and it's the final episode. And Tony's still alive. Are they going to kill him? It's like, then that's what you're sitting here going, what the fuck's going to go on? And so that was kind of like a funny thing for me with that. And then it hit, and then it kind of came out of there going, well, it was scary, but it was the buildup that really did it. So I kind of like Jaws. It's like build, and then you get it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a bit more old school in that regard. Like I'm still don't think that there's a scarier scene in movies than little Regan in The Exorcist sitting on that chair with her arm up like this, and she's already possessed. And they come down, they said, I'm speaking to who's ever inside. And she goes, she can come right now, like whatever that was. And I'm like, there's no scarier moment than that.
That was really scary. That was really scary. The end of Hereditary, man. Holy shit, dude. I was right on edge for the end of Hereditary. I can't, like, the Blair Witch had the same effect on me. The thing I liked about the Blair Witch is you went in, you sat down, you're like, okay, whatever the hell. But then you left going, what the hell just happened? I remember the young girls behind us going, oh my God, I can't leave. What the hell? And then you're hearing like the rocks clanging everywhere. You're like, holy shit. So I also watched, Blair Witch Part 2 was just such a piece of crap. And then Blair Witch Part 3, the main girl, I'm blanking on her name right now. I got on the tip of my tongue, but she, her brother goes looking for her. So they kind of go back to the old handheld thing. And I rewatched it just a couple nights ago, and I liked it a lot more. And the first time I watched Blair Witch 3, I was like, oh, yeah. And then I watched it again just a couple nights ago. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
It's funny because to that side, and there's the disappointing side, which when I heard that M. Night was doing a movie about being lost in the woods, or being a movie about the woods, I thought this is going to be the scariest movie of all time, because you're just so great at building up. I loved his Alien movie there with Mel Gibson.
Oh yeah, Signs.
Yes, I loved it and all that stuff. So I loved how he built that up. And then that movie happened, and it turned out to just be a cult in the woods. And it was just like, the scary monsters to keep the kids in the thing. And I was like, I was disappointed, because I was like, this could have been. So same with that Mark Wahlberg movie that he did, where it was like, well, it's just the wind. It's just the wind. And I'm like, okay, hold on a second. So it's amazing where these horror movies kind of go and how they go, and you watch them. I can't wait to dive into some of these. I just haven't had a chance to do it. So anyways, kudos to the Nerdist for doing that. I'm going to have to watch Hereditary now that you've said it, because if it's number one by you, then it's going to work for me, because one
other one I just want to mention to the listeners is Open House, which just is on Netflix now. It's a Netflix movie. It's called Open House. Check that out. I'm not going to say any more, but it's a twister. You're no way you're going to guess what. See, horror movies, I love watching the old ones where it's a guy that's going to chop you up. It's Jason, whatever. That's great. There's also the other ones where you're going through and trying to figure out who it is. Yeah. And it's gruesome along the way. And at the end, you're just like, what the fuck? The what the fuck moments. Like The Boys had so many what the fuck moments, right? Open House. That's a great Netflix horror movie for Halloween. If you guys want to check that out. And of course, Halloween. The original. If you're not watching the original Halloween, if you have not seen the original Halloween, you haven't celebrated Halloween properly.
Exactly.
The original, right? Like it's gold. It's
exactly.
Gold. Mm-hmm.
Well, my friends, that is another episode of the Kids on the Escalator podcast in audio and video form. You can catch the video on YouTube and all of the channels. I will throw some highlights in there of what we've been talking about. You can see more from us in that regard weekly on all platforms coming out and wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to subscribe, like all the things, whatever you say, Chris. What do the kids say?
I don't even know anymore. I'm not a kid, so I don't know. But I was going to say, if anybody has any things you would like us to discuss, man, drop them below, man. We love to chat. So we don't see each other very often anymore. So it's great for us to chat about the fun stuff. We got our movies, we got our comic books, we got pop culture, we got wrestling, horror stuff. Whatever you guys, music, whatever you guys want to hear us chat about in the pop culture realm. You're not going to hear a lot of politics here, which you may appreciate. That's right. We'll have to discuss Borat sometimes because it's so fun. Because I just watched Borat 2. Maybe that's another discussion. And you loved it too, right? And I've never watched Borat. I loved. I never liked him. It's a. I'll leave it at this, but he's not really the star of this one. Okay. Well, America is, but also just like I could make a show out of that. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a great thing. So cool. Join us next week, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, sharing, liking, doing the whole thing. You're going to win a whole pile of shit from our friends at Super Zuka and in Kingston Comic. We got Nexus Comics and we got Machete Comics that has some really rad stuff. My company, Machete Comics. Check out Mr. Machete on Instagram. Check out Machete Comics on Facebook. I got nothing on Twitter right now. Check out the Chris Machete Show on YouTube. That's right. Brenton On Tour Podcast. We're everywhere. We're doing all kinds of stuff. We're doing all kinds of crazy shit. And we're going to give away a bunch of stuff and we're going to have more things happening down the road. So it is the Kids on the Escalator Podcast. That is Chris Machete. I am Brenton. And thanks for joining us.